Germany's objection to the Treaty of Versailles, this time focusing on military restrictions, war guilt and reparations. Let's start with the military restrictions. Germany had always taken pride in its military and argued that 100,000 men just wasn't enough. It was too small to defend itself, but not even enough to keep order within the country if it needed to. Also, in Wilson's 14 points, it was discussed about disarmament for everybody. But by 1919, only Germany had to disarm with that number. France hadn't, Britain hadn't. When it comes to demilitarisation of the Rhineland, that was to protect France, but what Clemenceau actually wanted was Rhineland to be an independent state controlled by France. He had to accept that wasn't the case, but you can sort of see that Germany is dodged a bullet in as much as, yes, they've been restricted, but at least they still have an army. Next, let's look at war guilt. The German people felt that they'd been blamed for what the Kaiser, who was now gone, and other countries had done. For example, Serbia shooting Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Kaiser's no longer around, they've got a democratic government set up. It's unfair to blame the government, give them this huge reparations bill, give them the guilt, which means they can't really get started. They felt humiliated, they felt disgraced, and they thought to themselves, well, somebody will, and they do, come along that will change this, that will see this as an insult and will do something about it. That man obviously being Adolf Hitler. And finally, let's look at Germany's opinion about the reparation payments. 6.6 billion was too much, way too much. Remember, Germany had paid all that money for its troops, etc., as well, so they didn't have the money to pay. France, though, wasn't really interested in the money. They wanted to set a number that made Germany so weak that it could never, ever recover and therefore never attack France again. Britain realised that maybe Germany couldn't pay them, but again weren't overbothered because, you know what, that might mean trade starts again with Britain and we can both make their way in the world. The problem is the number led to bitterness. Along with war guilt, the 6.6 billion was just so ridiculously over the top that it made Germany feel like they were being picked on and therefore want revenge.